North-South Connection. Welcome to this extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience here at the Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT, Jenny, Maddie, Suze, coming at you, getting hardcore as always, like we do here in the new year, 2025, and episode 130 of this podcast, guys. And we are closing in on the final year of ECW. How's that make you feel?
Old and withered.
Yeah,
and excited.
Yeah,
it's gonna be cool working this promotion, but also sad when we're done.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm trying to save all my sadness.
No, we'll save it for the end, but we still have a while to go. We still got a lot of cool stuff to watch, and we got a big one tonight. It is November to Remember 1999. November Remember, as we know, is kind of usually the biggest show of the year for them. Even though it wasn't the first pay-per-view, right? They've had one almost every year, I think, since we've been watching anyway, since '93. Mm-hmm. So this really is like kind of their Starrcade, their WrestleMania, and they usually build the year around it. It is from Buffalo, the Burt Flickinger Center, one of our favorite haunts, November 7th, 99. I believe our compadre Steve Bennett was there at this show, I believe. I'll have to double check with him. I know he went to a few Buffalo ECW shows. I know Bennett and ECW don't exactly go hand in hand when you think of
I didn't think he went to cool wrestling shows.
Yeah, well, he did. He always at WrestleMania 6, which is the coolest. But he was, I believe he was at the Flick. I think it might have been at the show.
The Flick, right?
That's what I've come to call it, yes. All right, let's dive right in. And I guess I should mention as well, this podcast is simulcast video on our YouTube channel, North-South Connection, and audio on all podcast applications under North-South Connection. So be sure to subscribe to both. Don't miss a thing. We have a lot of cool content. It is officially the road to WrestleMania. I know it's like at the Rumble, but it really kind of starts here. Raw's on Netflix now. A lot going on. We did a bunch of previews for that. I'm sure we'll have a bunch of Rumble content. So stay with us. It's the best time of year to be here with the North-South Connection because we will be bringing the goods into Mania. All right, we start the show. Joey Styles and Cyrus are in the ring. They welcome us to the Flick. Cyrus has a rubber glove on. He says, Buffalo is the bacteria capital of the United States. If he worked there every night, he would live in Toronto and drive there. Cyrus says he's so good on the mic, he only works once every 8 weeks, and smart marks of the world can rejoice that he's back for pay-per-view. Joey says tonight will be a November to remember, but he gets interrupted by Joel Gertner, who stomps to the ring and does his usual innuendos and a pop to chants. Joel says he's the host of ECW on TNN, the flagship program. It's on 1 million homes on Fridays, and he should be out here to carry Joey and host the show. Cyrus backs off and smirks because Taz's music hits. He comes out in street clothes looking pissed. Taz says Joey's been ignoring his calls and his messages. He got to the building at 3 p.m. today, asked where Joey was, and the producer said he was in the truck doing voiceovers. He didn't have time, but he would let Joey know. Taz asked where the goddamn heat is, and Joey says he called Taz last week, but Taz calls him a lying bastard and says Joey never called him and tried to punk him out. 2 weeks ago on TNN, Joey implied that Taz choked out RVD from behind and did a cowardly act, and Joey says that is what happened. Taz said he did, and he calls Joey a genius and Mr. Microphone, and asks how he usually applies the Taz mission. Joey admits it's from behind, and he says Taz didn't have to lock it on him because he was fighting Sabu. Taz says he seized an opportunity, and if Joey, ECW, or Heyman doesn't like it, he doesn't give a shit because he does what he wants, when, and how. Joel's chuckling. Taz asks Joey to try to punk him out, so that must mean he wants to fight. Joey quickly dispels that idea as the crowd chants, fuck him up, Joey. Taz says 5,000 people want to see you kick my ass. They're all ungrateful piece of shit, sons of bitches, so Joey should bring it. Joey chuckles and apologizes for laughing. Taz says, are you a comedian? You may here to amuse you. Joey begs off and apologizes for offending Taz, and Taz says Joey must figure he had the nuts to offend him. Joey says he can't win in this situation, and Taz asks if Joey said he can just win against Taz. He says, you're a disrespectful son of a bitch. Joey apologizes again, and Taz gives him 3 seconds to leave the ring. He asks what ECW is going to do when he splatters Joey's brains around. Fire him? You'd only be lucky to get fired. Joey leaves right away as the crowd wants to fight. Joel's prancing around, and Taz glares at him and stops short. Taz calls him a fat shit and says, do you think you're funny? Taz asks Joel was sitting behind him when he implied Taz was attacked from behind and says Joel's a bitch, and that didn't stop him from saying it. Taz says he'll do him the same favor and give him 3 seconds to leave. Joel says he'll leave right now to carry Joey's ass, but Taz hooks him with the Taz mission and chokes Joel out. Taz says in a little while, RVD will find out why he was ECW World TV Tag and FTW Champion. Beat me if you can, survive if I let you. Cyrus is smiling. He walks up to Taz and thanks him. Taz thanks Cyrus. They shake hands. Brings an end to our intense opening scene. Taz obviously leaving the company guns blazing. Add some extra heat to this RVD match under the threat of violence for a man that has no fucks left to give, Matt. So what do you think of this opening sequence here? What do you think about giving Taz this extra time? Like, we know he's out the door. It's a tough situation because he is such a legend. Like, you know, he built so much around him. And even though he's leaving, dedicating like all this opening time via pay-per-view to a guy that's leaving in a month or a couple weeks, whatever it's going to be, is that counterproductive, or do you think it's Taz? It doesn't matter, and it adds heat to the match?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me the whole this felt kind of try hard a little bit. Like they're trying to just pump this match up a little bit more when honestly it didn't really need anything like this. It's RVD and Taz. It's two of the biggest names in the company. You didn't necessarily need to do this opening segment, and especially considering something that happens later on in this night, i.e. something getting cut for time, which we'll get to. Boy, you really didn't need this when you look at some of the other things that happen later on this show, which we'll get to. But as is, I mean, I guess it was fine for what it was, but I don't think you necessarily needed to heat up Taz anymore, Jenny.
Tell me what Joel said when he came out, Maddie.
I did not mark down what.
Are you serious?
It's the one time you asked me. It's the first time I didn't.
I ask you every time, and you always say it.
I messed up. I'll give myself 40 lashes off there.
How dare you? Anyway, he said his nonsense. Pretty funny. Does Taz have new music? What was up with the music on this show?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit different too.
Well, I think some of these pay-per-views like were originally on WWE Network, and they may have had like different dub music, like a lot of or not even network. I don't know if they were put on like. This might have been on some DVD, ECW DVD compilation or something. So like they might have pulled that. Like it happens a lot with even WWE stuff where they have like different versions for different and they don't like redo it again. So this was probably put somewhere that they had dubbed the song with something else before they came up with the standard dub.
Okay. It happens like over and over tonight. So it just
that's what I think it was. They probably they probably released this early on something and they had dubbed the music all over already. So they just left it.
To me, I just thought, poor Joey. Why is he catching strays and shit here? Like
Joey's learning about business with these two. Didn't they bicker before? Like, didn't Taz threaten him before?
A little bit, but like it wasn't like this. And like, I don't know. It was just thin. It was very thin premise to get Taz out there talking shit. I mean, he's good at it. Not sure why he's boys with Cyrus. I guess they're cool. Because Cyrus is insane.
It's one of the things with ECW right now. WCW had the same stuff going on a little bit. WWF, like where they just rely too much on the insider knowledge. And ECW is probably one place you can kind of get away with it because I think the high majority of the fans were probably on the internet and insiders. So like, I don't know. I think we're just supposed to think like Cyrus is like a stoogey, insider guy who's always like, whatever, a politician kind of thing. It just seems like they lean a lot on that with him, like kind of these insider lingo and terms.
Yeah.
Not that it's not too many of them, but it felt like, we were supposed to assume that Cyrus is like a sneaky politician or something.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes sort of a thread through the show with him and Joey. So, just kind of random, though. Yeah, I don't know. This was all right, but I'm over Taz. I've been over Taz. He ain't champ. He's out the door. What are we doing?
Yeah, he's about to be gone. It's coming. I mean, this is his last pay-per-view for sure. I think he may have one more TV match in there, but then we're pretty much done. He definitely lasted longer than I thought. I thought he was done at Anarchy Rules with the whole, parade out the door that they gave him and all that. But and again, I don't blame them for using him. Like put a bunch of guys over him, use his name value at the end here. So, all right, we get our opening animation. We go to the ring for our first match. It is Simon Diamond taking on Spike Dudley. We're back at the Flick. Simon and Dick are in the ring. And we get loud "You suck dick" chants echoing out. Simon grabs the mic. He says he has a problem. It's a sad day when two clean-cut, all-American, good-looking guys can't hang out and be friends without these derogatory comments. Simon says for Dick to remove his robe. Dick rubs his shoulders, and Simon says he didn't say to do that. Dick wishes him luck and smacks his ass. Simon says, I didn't say that. Simon didn't say that either, but I'll let Dick slide this time. Simon tells the fans to look at his dick. It's huge and vascular. And then he's finally interrupted by Jazz as she stalks out to a pop. Jazz says she's sick and tired of Simon always having a problem. She slaps him across the face and hits the Jazz stinger. Dick pulls Jazz off and scoops her up into a sidewalk slam, which Joey calls the penile implant. Simon says Dick is a giant killer. So out comes Spike Dudley, of course. Cyrus asks Joey if this is the biggest dick he's ever seen. Spike slides in, kicks Dick in the dick, and hits the acid drop, but Simon jumps on from behind and stomps away. Joey says he did work with one really big dick before in ECW, and he was just sitting in a limo out back. Obviously, we get a quick flurry into a Simon hot shot to the buckle, slings Spike outside. He follows, and Spike ends up battering him with a somersault senton off the apron. Back inside, Spike goes on top of the chair, comes down across Simon's skull. Cyrus trolls Joey earlier about as a now bloody Simon Backdrop Spike on the floor. Simon shoots Spike to the railing. Cyrus says he hopes his dick doesn't start bleeding too. Back inside, Simon hits 2 suplexes into a Falcon Arrow for 2. Simon blocks a kick as Cyrus reminds us he's a corporate executive at Pepsi before this. Joey says he was also a baseball standout at VCU. This is becoming like Dino Bravo with the weightlifting and the smoking guns and the radio. Like we hear at every match that he's a Pepsi and VCU baseball player. Spike steals the win with a low with a headbutt and the acid drop to pick up the victory. So standard opener. I thought Simon was good on the mic and in the match. Spike doesn't get a chance to celebrate those. We'll talk about in a minute because we're doing kind of the flow through early ECW pay-per-view stuff that we tend to get on these shows where they just kind of go segment to segment. But I want to star and a half, Jenny, on the match. I mean, I thought it was fine.
I did too. It was almost a 2 for me. The comedy was pretty good, not gonna lie. And the guy that plays Dick, who is that? Who have we talked about him? I'm sure we
did, and I think this is like all he does. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. That's what I thought we had determined, but I just want to make sure. But he is just so good at it. Like
he's good at the deadpan.
He's really good at this. His nipple ring, really nice touch too. But I like the wooden chairs. I don't know why. Always pops me when they use wooden chairs. And it's a fun little sprint of a match. Jazz is fun. And I always love an acid drop, so I did a 1.5 as well.
Yeah, I went a 1.5 on it. Fairly standard opening stuff. Good to see Spike get a win. It was fairly quick and inoffensive, which for a Simon Diamond thing is a plus as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, not much more to add. It was a 1.5. It was totally fine.
All right, so as Spike is trying to celebrate, the FBI, Guido and Sal come to the ring and beat the piss out of him. But of course, before we continue what happened there, it is time for our lesson of the week. This week, we're going to head to a town known as Providence, Rhode Island. About longtime mayor Buddy Cianci. Vincent Albert Buddy Cianci Jr., born April 30th, 1941, a politician, attorney, radio talk show host, and political commentator. Jenny, have you heard of Buddy Cianci?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, he started as a attorney and then was elected mayor of Providence in 1974. Had a 10-year run. He resigned in 1994 due to rumors of corruption and ties to the mob. There was a lot going on. He was also forced, specifically, they kind of got him because he pleaded no contest to a claim that a man had been romantically involved with his wife, and both him and his driver, Cianci and his driver were charged with kidnapping, beating, and torturing the man. Providence municipal regulations prohibited a convicted felon from holding political office, so he then resigned. So he became a talk show host from 84 to 91, ran again as mayor in 1991, and he won. Course, he said he had never stopped caring about Providence. He was still very popular despite what had happened. He was much more cleaner, tourist friendly. He brought the Providence Bruins hockey team from Maine. He also built the Providence Place Mall and the skating center and the water fire, which is a pretty big attraction. This is where I thought you may know him from. He has a brand of tomato sauce, Mayor's Own marinara sauce, where the sales benefit the Providence school children. But they found out that no money from the sauce sales were donated to the charity scholarship.
Weird.
So, of course, then he was hit with some tax issues from that. He was very arts friendly, but he was indicted again on he ran again in 98, unopposed on the ballots, and he had never lost a mayoral election until November 14. He did have an issue known as Operation Plunderdome in April of 2001. Racketeering, conspiracy, extortion, witness tampering, and mail fraud. Several other city officials were also indicted alongside him, and just really a lot of this ended up leading to, again, any of you have heard of the podcast series Crime Town, which was said about Providence, and that is about Buddy Cianci's reign as mayor. Okay. So he went back to the radio and was a political commentator, ran again in 2014, but he ended up losing that one, like we said, to Alorza. Diagnosed with colon cancer that year and passed away 2 years later at 74. So he was also, again, still beloved even when everything happened. His body lay in state for 2 days at the city hall. The first mayor since 1886 have done that. So despite all the issues, he's still pretty well regarded because he did build Providence up into like a pretty big tourist area and fixed up a lot of the downtown. They had a real bad reputation for a long time between the mall, the Bruins, the water fire, and all that. He did a lot for the city. Just a typical kind of politician of the 80s and 90s. I didn't know also if you would recognize that Family Guy, the show, of course, created by Seth MacFarlane, who went to RISD, Rhode Island School of Design. Chris Griffin attended Buddy Cianci Junior High School. And they did Buddy Cianci High. So there you go. So a lot more to learn about Buddy. I recommend the podcast series if you want to check out more about that, but definitely was heavily tied to the vibes of Providence being a mob affiliated.
A little bit.
I can see that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So check it out. You can another homework assignment for you perhaps to learn a little about Big Buddy and come back to us. All right. So our match, the FBI come to the ring. They beat the piss out of Spike Dudley. Nova is right on their ass, smashes Sal off the top rope. They get to work on Guido with a sit-out powerbomb and a flying forearm. Joey says Nova is the most imitated wrestler in the business, and Cyrus says no one would imitate his haircut. Guido reverses the whip to the corner, but misses a charge, and Nova hits an X Factor. Guido bails outside, and Nova meets him with a high cross body off the top. Nova pitches Guido inside, but Sal clubs him in the back of the head. Guido gets to work. Nova shrugs off some strikes, comes off the top. Guido meets him with a lariat for 2. They trade some chops. Nova eats a knee on a charge. Guido gets a bulldog off the middle rope for 2. Stomps away. We get a series of counters to Guido neckbreaker for a near fall. Guido goes up top, and Nova crotches him, gets a super Samoan drop, but he's too banged up to cover, so Guido drapes his arm for 2. Nova's up and slugging away, gets a pop-up cutter for 2 as Sal makes a save. Sal comes all the way in the ring, misses an avalanche. Nova takes him out with a tornado DDT. Guido sneaks in and finishes the match with the Tamikaze, which Joey says is now called the Maritado, which of course is Guido's real last name. Fun match, some innovative offense, even though parts were a little clunky due to Nova's complex move setups that he tries to work in here. Cyrus notes that Guido gets a much-needed pay-per-view win, which is true. I feel like he's usually on the losing end of his series with Jerry and Crazy and those guys. But it did feel like a step down from the usual slot for him. That said, it did feel like a step up for Nova, who felt, I think deserves a little bit more as well. I think he's broken the chains of the BWO stuff and really proven that he can go and not just be a comedy guy. So Matt went 2.25 on this match.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it. Really fun. Another fun sprint. It was good to get, like you said, good to give Guido a win here. It almost feels like that's what this was kind of designed to do, was to give Guido a win on pay-per-view. Nova hit something at one point that Joey called a smash mouth. So
yeah,
he did all these names.
Was quite the all-star move there. But
yeah. Was walking on the sun. But.
Yeah, he was. Somebody once told me that. But yeah. The tornado DDT to Sal was always great.
How many for Smash Mouth?
For Smash, that's about all I got for Smash Mouth. I think we've named
the Monkey's cover. That's the only one I got.
Yeah, I think we've named all of them. But yeah, another fun match here. So 2.5 for me, Jenny, on this. Kind of a match out of nowhere, but fun for what it was.
Now I'm a believer in Nova.
Oh boy, there it is.
Okay. No, I like this match. I was very happy to see Guido win. That's really good, and not a lot of Sal interference, some, but not a lot. That tornado DDT was amazing. Very fun match. Did we talk about the post match?
All right, no, we didn't cover the post match yet, but why don't we get to it right now? The FBI beat down Nova after the match, but Chris Chetty makes his return, comes out to help his partner. Chetty cleans out the FBI. Danny Doring and Roadkill are right behind them, take him out. That includes a top rope Roadkill splash on the rehab back, and that pretty much closes out that opening segment. So it's the usual kind of opening clusterfuck stretch, squeezed in 2 matches, some brawls, the Taz thing. We got the lower mid card into the show, and now it's almost like the hard reset into the actual show coming up. So it's always good. They do a good job of fitting everyone in without having to eat up too much time or matches. Or do like lazy shit like a battle royal or something. So I thought they're actually usually pretty adept at this and making sure these guys get on the show and doing it in a pretty efficient way that flows through. And this has kind of become their calling card a bit. So any thoughts on the post match?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Good to see Teddy back. And a very ECW match.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get us going here. So I did 2.25 on all of it.
All right. Joey Styles plugs the website and the web team consisting of Dave Shearer, Chris Woodward, Scrap Dog, and Jim Quigley. And you can vote for
Whoever the fuck
WrestleMania
those guys are.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
eventually,
what?
Matt, become the crew of OneWrestling.com. If they weren't, they probably were already. Actually, I think.
Scrap Dog. Who could forget?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if that was Adam Pierce. Wasn't he Scrap Dog? Was that Scrap Dog?
He was Scrap Iron.
Scrap Iron. That's Scrap Dog was somewhere. Maybe not.
Maybe the dog held an iron. I don't know.
Yeah. But Cher and Woodward definitely were One Wrestling, and Joey Styles, kind of helped fund that, and later would be the owner of it. I don't know if he was at the time. It was kind of kept secret because of ECW, but I know long term he definitely owned it. And that would become PW Insider when they have the split with Bob Ryder and all that. But that was definitely one of the earliest pro wrestling websites. Was One Wrestling, and Cher and Woodward were the big parts of that. All right, next match is three-way dance action as Tajiri takes on Super Crazy and Jerry Lynn. Steve Corino and Jack Victory bring out Tajiri. Joey says Victory's been overselling this injury for a year, but Cyrus defends him. Corino grabs the mic and says that when there's a three-way dance, you need the god of three-way dances, Tajiri. Corino says Japanese wrestlers are the best in the world, and they've beaten Crazy so many times, this will be easy. If Lynn can waddle to the ring and stop complaining about broken nails and bruised toes, he'll see that Tajiri is the true king of the three-way. Super Crazy comes out to a pop. Cyrus tells Joey he's a gimmick. That's his gimmick. Lynn is out last, and his ribs are taped as usual. Cyrus keeps trolling Joey about the office. Joey keeps denying there's an office. We start with all three losing, tossing strikes into a Crazy high cross body on Lynn. Crazy sends Tajiri outside with a dropkick. He and Lynn have it back and forth into a Lynn tilt-a-whirl head scissors, but Crazy comes back with an arm drag. Both guys reset. Tajiri's in, but Lynn meets him with strikes. Tajiri counters a charge and hooks Lynn into a tarantula. Crazy breaks the hold by hammering Lynn's ribs. Tajiri blocks a sunset flip. He hooks Crazy in the tarantula, but Lynn breaks it up. Lynn chops at Tajiri, but Tajiri catches him with a super kick, puts him up top. Lynn pushes Tajiri off and dives into Crazy on the floor. Tajiri meets both guys with an Asai to a pop. Tajiri shoots Crazy hard to the railing, but Crazy dumps Tajiri into the fans and hammers away. Tajiri suplexes Crazy to the chairs in the front row. Lynn flies into both guys with a dive off the railing. They brawl through the crowd to the entrance where Crazy scales the balcony and careens into both of them with a moonsault. They head back to ringside as the crowd's going nuts. Crazy hooks Tajiri in a rolling surfboard. Lynn levels him with a bulldog out of that. Lynn hooks Crazy in a gory special, hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Tajiri comes in with a dropkick to the knee of Lynn, takes Crazy down with a Rana. Lynn tries a Rana on Crazy but gets powerbombed, and Crazy hits a springboard moonsault for 2. Crazy chops away Tajiri, then powerbombs him for 2, but Lynn saves for some reason, which Cyrus calls out. Lynn stuffs Crazy with a cradle pile driver, but now Tajiri makes a save, hits Super Crazy with a brainbuster, and he is eliminated. Lynn hammers on Tajiri. Tajiri meets him with a handspring elbow and kicks at the ribs. Joey makes fun of Carino's die job. He calls that old school. And Carino says that, or Cyrus says it has a certain flair, which is funny. Tajiri hangs Lynn in the tree of woe and mashes him with a hard baseball slide drop kick. Tajiri chokes away, floats out of a German. Lynn ducks a kick, gets a bridging German for 2. Lynn loads a tombstone, but Tajiri counters into a stiff backbreaker and misses a moonsault. Lynn comes up firing and batters Tajiri in the corner, and he ends up with a tornado DDT for 2. Tajiri counters to a bridging German for 2. Cyrus is trolling Joey some more. Tajiri kicks Lynn hard in the head, targets the ribs with a stiff kick, but Lynn no-sells it, fires up and shoves him down, and then buries the cradle pile driver for the win. Carino's in right away, kicking and punching at Lynn, but Lynn's able to dropkick Victory off the apron, stick Carino with a cradle pile driver, and wrap us up. So fun match as always. It was stiff, a great pace and smooth. But I'll be honest, that was a little bit below expectations given who was in there and what we've seen the past 3 years. It missed that extra gear to go up a level, especially once we go down to the last 2. I like the finish with Lynn finally having enough, shredding the rib pain and burying Tajiri as the upper mid-card continues to shine. It just feels like if we're going to keep rolling these matches out, I feel like I just need like a little something different. And Lynn was new to the mix. It's usually been Guido in there, so there was a little bit of freshness, but it felt a little bit too much like, okay, we've seen this. So I went 3.5 stars, Jenny. What did you think of the match?
No, I mean, you're not wrong. It's just, to me, Jerry Lynn is elevating these guys because he's better than them. You know, it's a good replacement for Guido anyway. But this was amazing. Crazy is just a madman. He's so fun to watch. They do. I did expect a little bit more high-flying stuff, but they kind of did a crowd brawling element here that was also kind of different than these matches usually are. So, yeah, I figured it would come down to Tajiri and Jerry Lynn, and I was very happy for Jerry Lynn to finally win something like this. It's a banger. They don't stop moving. Everybody gets their shit in. It looks great. It's brutal. It's 3.5 stars, Matt.
Yeah, I went 3 3/4 on this. I mean,
Wow.
just Another great match between another great three-way, I should say. Jerry Lynn fit right in, but Lynn's the type he can fit in with fucking everything. So it was nice to see him win this match. He won it. Jerry Lynn won a thing, you guys. Can you believe
it? Was so great.
And on a fucking pay-per-view, no less. Holy shit!
He was due for a win. Yeah, he needed.
Yes,
he needed to get
absolutely.
He desperately needed it. The moonsault off the entryway in the crowd.
Oh.
Fucking Christ, what are you doing? Like,
Yep.
fucking trying to die for our sins. Good Lord. But the pace was ridiculous too, as expected. But I feel like we've seen them have fast three-way dances before, but I feel like with all three guys, there was like an extra speed level to it. It was just flying around the ring, and good luck trying to take fucking notes trying to keep up with this match.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to.
Holy shit. The pace finally slowed down because, these men turns out are human and they need to, breathe and whatnot. But just a great fucking match. And I love that Jerry Lynn was able to pin Tajiri, given what had happened a couple weeks ago on TV. So 3 3/4 for me. Awesome stuff.
All right, we get clips of Angel when he fired Staples into New Jack's eye during a big brawl at the ECW arena. And that brings us to our next match. Features Rotten Balls, Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney taking on the Baldies. All four Baldies are in the ring with stogies, and annoyed Joey says ECW doesn't have an office. They just work out of their houses. Rotten Balls bangs to the ring with chairs, looking for revenge for New Jack. Joey says ECW has made its name of bloody matches and evolved since then, but this should be a throwback to 1993 with a true bloodbath. Axel and Balls try and split the gap to get in the ring, but the Baldies are all over them. Axel fights through it, starts cleaning house with the chairs. Balls batters two of them with punches. The Baldies swarm and have Axel buried in the corner. A Skull catches Balls with a kick to the head. The Baldies ground and pound as the crowd calls for New Jack, and right on cue, Natural Born Killer fires up. Out he comes with a bucket of plunder to a big pop. Joey says he's shocked New Jack doesn't get arrested every city he goes to. Angel has a staple gun and backs off as New Jack cleans out his buddies with weapons. New Jack grabs a golf club. He smashes Angel in the back and elbow as Angel looks to be in some real pain from that. Jack puts a pan on Angel's nuts, grabs a vacuum cleaner, and smashes the pan with it. Angel gets out of dodge.
It sure is.
Angel gets out of dodge as the carnage continues as Joey talks about one of the original New York gangs, the Fordham Baldies. Outside, New Jack staples Angel's balls, and Joey's losing it. New Jack and Axel take two of the Baldies through the crowd as Skull and News double team Balls. Skull hits a nice top rope elbow. Joey says, Macho who? The bloody News hits a rolling senton off the second rope. New Jack and Axel set up a ladder and tables near the back of the building. They smash DeVito with a chair, put him on the table. New Jack scales the ladder, climbs up the piping of the basketball backboard, and dives off through the table to a massive pop. Complete madman. New Jack is right up somehow, and he and Axel head back to the ring to help Balls. New Jack bites News and then slams his head with a Nintendo. New Jack gets in the ring and clubs on Skull, smashes him with a staple gun, and fires staples into his head. Angel sneaks up and hits New Jack with a guitar, and the Baldies win, and they carry each other out, all covered in blood, victorious. And this is a good classic ECW garbage brawl, a lot of weapons and violence. And we hadn't had a lot of it lately. Like, I know there's been times in the past where we kind of like complained about it, like, oh, like I'm done with it. But I think we've actually stayed away from this kind of stuff lately. So it didn't feel as played out. And the crowd energy plus Natural Born Killers blaring always helps. And there's also some story too, which I appreciate. A lot of times we get these matches where there's no actual story to it. It was just, a bunch of fighting or whatever. So I like that there was actually an angle for it. So it was cool to have the old school ECW guys in there throwing down in the brawl against the new bullies. So the Baldies take the win. That was the right call. Push them. They've earned it. And they earned it in this match for sure. So I actually went 3 stars, Matt. I thought this was a pretty good bloodbath, like Joey said. I thought they delivered. I was worried when he said it. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's going to be like a meandering whatever. But it actually hit for me.
Yeah, no, we were due for one of these. It had been a long time since we had seen a wild fucking brawl like this, so we were long overdue, and it was a damn good one. I went 3 stars on it too. Just really fun weapons type stuff. Like, it was like a throwback to like 1996 with some of those Gangsters Eliminators matches. The New Jack balcony dive, Jesus, off the backboard of the basketball. What the fuck are you doing, man? Like, are you trying to die? Like, holy shit, dude. PN News
Scared. I'll put it that way.
No, but PN News getting hit with a Nintendo across the skull was very ironic because the last time PN News was relevant was when Nintendo was a thing. So that was
brought it with him.
Yeah, it probably is. The finish was sick too with that guitar shot to the back of the head, and you could also tell that Joey missed having these matches too because he was fucking loving this entire
Yeah,
thing.
he was.
Like he was having a blast calling this. So good for Joey for being able to have fun. He deserves to have fun. So 3 stars for me, Jenny.
He said, Super Mario, who'd he ever beat? That was great. No, I agree. It has been a hot minute since the 3-star fucking weapons brawl where fucking New Jack jumps off of something.
For so long, it was Axel and Balls against the Dudleys. So like it just felt very repetitive. So I actually have enjoyed the Baldies. I think they're pretty good in the role, and they're good heels without being over the top like the Dudleys. So they've been good foils, and they're doing kind of a good street gang because we already have like the mob guy, right, with Guido and Sal, who are kind of over the top stereotypical mob guys, whereas these guys are more like just street thugs versus like mob gimmicks. So I
these are closer to Buddy Cianci. These guys.
No, these but Guido and Sal are closer to Buddy Cianci. These are close to the guys Cianci hired to kill the guy.
I legit thought New Jack was going to fall off that fucking thing. Like, because it had a banner on it and it kept kind of slipping. I was like, oh no. Is this how he dies?
He should have dunked the ball on his way down.
Oh man, imagine if he did that.
Wild.
Maybe like Axel throws him a pass, he catches, dunks it, and then comes down.
The alley-oop.
Anybody could, it'd be New Jack.
That would be great. They could have
Dr. J. The J stands for Jack.
Yep.
Yeah, could just be like Mike, like for video packages and stuff. All right, we're backstage. Cyrus says Joey is big into the Stooge reports, and they bicker about the internet. Cyrus says he got buzzed from the office to tell Joey to talk less so he can have more time to get over. Cyrus says tells him not to K5 the people, and Joey says, you made that up. Cyrus cackles and tells him to do his job and talk about wrestling. Joey's at a loss, and Cyrus says it looks like he has the old script, and Joey says it's time for a solemn interview with Sabu and Fonzie. So any thoughts on that?
No, just more bickering between. I don't know where all this office shit is coming from, but like it's very weird and very random. And look, I find Cyrus very entertaining, probably more than one normal human being should. So he's very funny. The K5 line fucking killed me, but it's very weird that all this office stuff is happening fucking out of thin air. So I don't know if it's going anywhere or where it leads to, but it's just very strange to me, Jenny.
I mean, I will admit to liking Cyrus as well. I don't know why it feels weird. I feel like I shouldn't say it, but we said it. He's all right. I mean, I think it's just because to me, it just should be Joey. Like, I just love Joey, and he's so good by himself that this other guy just makes me like, I don't know about you. But then he's funny, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I think the office stuff is just, again, they're just kowtowing to the internet inside fans that like get off this. And they were at the time. It was cool to know that shit and hear it on TV.
Right.
You know, WCW driving to the ground between Russo, which was right around here. It was when Russo went to WCW.
Yeah.
You can hear that on the Backbone Podcast Network, right? They're kind of working through that era, but
poor shit.
Yes, I used more than Vince Russo's WCW, but between Russo and then Mark Madden in WCW does like a lot of like the insider shit, and like they get so heavy handed with it gets a lot worse. But here it's like it's not overtaking the show. You know, Cyrus does pepper it in a lot here because he's doing commentary, but most weeks it's kind of contained to like a segment. But yeah, like K5 thing was funny. It's just so stupid. All right, so backstage, Fonzie says in a few minutes Sabu's going to come out and do what he does best in this business. The personas are bigger than life, and Sabu's bigger than life. He fights with more heart than any wrestler, baby. Tonight, Candido better be ready for the fight of his life because Sabu lost his best friend, and he's dedicating the match and pay-per-view to Ticho and his family. So I don't know who Ticho is. Matt, any clue?
Not a clue. No idea.
Not Tito Santana.
No, it was not. It was not him. I that much I do know.
Okay. All right, to the ring we go as Sabu is taking on Chris Candido. Candido's out with Tammy. They're all smiles, cuddles, and cocky. Joey runs down the resume. Sabu stalks out Fonzie to a pop and get intros, settle back in with lockups and feeling out. Excuse me. They trade punches, and Sabu clings Candido to the floor. Sabu follows out. They keep slugging away. Candido shoots Sabu to the railing, lays in some chops. We head back inside. Sabu rallies back, tries a springboard sidekick. Candido catches him. It's a back suplex for 2. Sabu chucks Candido to the floor, meets him with a plancha, stomps away. Candido catches Sabu coming in and works the midsection, hits a long delayed vertical suplex. Candido follows the middle rope leg drop for 2, hammers away on him, gets a nice judo throw, but misses a swan dive headbutt. Sabu bounces up and gets 2 on the DDT, follows with a triple jump leg drop. Sabu heads outside, sets up a table bridge. Candido meets him with a dive off the top rope. lands on Sabu's back as he was bent over. I don't think it really hurt. Candido puts Sabu on the table, heads up top, and Sabu is up, crotches him, takes him off with a Rana. Candido recovers as the German hammers away and goes low. Candido puts Sabu on the table in the ring, heads up top, but misses a leg drop and smashes through for a near fall. Sabu stomps on Candido, goes to the camel clutch, follows with a springboard avalanche on the corner. Candido falls down into the open chair, throat first. Candido bails out. Sabu dives into him in the front row of the baseball slide, and Sabu sets up a chair, flies into him with a triple jump dive to a pop. They brawl to the back of the building, come back to ringside. Candido throws Sabu to the railing into the edge of the ring, slams Sabu on the floor. Sabu pastes him with a chair and comes back in with a springboard splash for 2. Sabu briefly goes to a camel clutch, sets up another table. Candido's up with chops and punches. Sabu fights him off, puts him to the table with a top rope leg drop for 2. Candido recovers, powerbombs Sabu for 2, grabs an air fall with a pile driver, then puts Sabu on the top rope and it's a stiff superplex. He tries a triple jump, but Sabu meets him with a spin heel kick, gets 2 on an Arabian press. Sabu's up, but Tammy crotches him on the top rope. Candido follows and gets a Rana and a swan dive headbutt for 2, gets a pile driver. He and Tammy load another table up. Sabu fights Candido off, puts him on the table and goes up top. Tammy gets in the ring and tries to trip Sabu, but Fonzie grabs her to Chancery and puts her on the table. Candido saves her, but Sabu puts Candido through the table with a leg drop. As Joey says, it's not the first time Candido sacrificed himself for Tammy. Sabu follows up with a super Arabian facebuster and finishes with the camel clutch. Really nasty finish, too. He really wrenches that in after the facebuster. Just a grinder of a match. This was not what I expected. It was less flying and garbage and more just beat the shit out of each other. Not the hectic pacing of usual Sabu matches, but it was brutal in its own way. It was physical. It was angry. We didn't get a lot of Fonzie and Tammy, which I liked. It was just straightforward. I thought Candido looked fantastic, honestly. He's a guy I've kind of been done with coming back in and out, but he looked good here. Takes a lot of heavy offense and loads his arsenal and chugs along, and Sabu grinds out the win. Candido reminds ECW he can still go. I actually thought this was a bit of a hidden gem, Jenny. Unique fight for both guys. I went 3 3/4. I really like this. I thought it was super physical.
Well, it didn't really hit for me. I felt like it was the most boring Sabu match I've ever seen.
Come on, Daddy.
I mean, sure, it was well worked, brutal, but like it was missing something for me. Like it didn't have any Sabu spice on it. And Candido, I feel like he's trying to be like the good boy, right? He's trying not to do wild shit. He's not. He wants to, be serious wrestler guy now. So it kind of takes a little bit of fun out of him as well. If you don't have Tammy coming in as much, it's a little less fun with their duo. Yeah, I don't know. The camel clutch did look good. And this is a good match. I just thought it was a little boring. And I'm trying to give Chris Candido some grace here, but I don't know. He needs to do a little bit better. 3 1/4 for me, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3.5 on it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, we've obviously seen better stuff from Sabu, but for me, like, I thought Sabu looked good in this match, and like, despite everything we've said about Candido in the past, and this is kind of the frustrating thing about him, he could still bring it in the ring, which is frustrating because he's been booked like such shit for the last 6 months, and I'm guessing a lot of it is his own doing because he's such a, he's out there doing God knows what with Tammy. But like, that's the frustrating thing about Candido is, he's capable of like sleepwalking to like a 3-star match, but they just can't trust him right now, and especially like, this is a big spot for him too, like getting this 20-minute match on a pay-per-view with Sabu. Like, so, I mean, hopefully this leads to better things with Candido. Maybe they shy away from some of that weird Tammy stuff and just let Candido, wrestle, which is what he's best at.
Just let her be a valet, have the cat fight,
Right.
get involved. Like, she must be a normal manager. That's what got her over in the first place. Like,
right.
Why do we need to, do exposés and talk? Like, or we did it. You get your bump, whatever, your awareness. Like, so now just let her be a wrestling character.
So I hope that this leads to more of that with Candido. But for the match, like, I really enjoyed it for a match that was like fucking out of nowhere, announced with no build or nothing like that. I mean, it was maybe a skosh too long. It went like 20 minutes, I think, but I did enjoy it for most of it. So 3.5 for me. Hopefully this leads to better stuff in ring with Candido, because he's still very good in the ring, despite all of our bullshit we've had with him.
Yeah. I mean, when you, at the end of the day, like if we, do like a ranking of ECW, like he's going to be high. Like he's been around a lot longer than I realized. He was involved in a lot of big stories, the stuff with Storm, like all that stuff, like Triple Threat. Like he's been a big part of a lot of things. So, all right, backstage, Masato Tanaka is running on a treadmill, barks at us in Japanese, vows to become the world champion. Elsewhere, Mike Awesome's warming up. Judge Jeff Jones issues the warning to Tanaka and says Mike Awesome will beat Tanaka 2 straight for the first time ever, ranting about penal codes. Awesome says he'll break Tanaka's back and he will take an awesome bomb. Joey and Cyrus are in the nest to talk about the main event. Joey says Tanaka holds more victories over Mike Awesome than anyone in wrestling and has the best odds to end his reign out of anyone. Joey says Awesome has never beaten Tanaka in a scheduled singles match in ECW, only the impromptu 3-way dance at Anarchy Rules. Cyrus says November is known for controversial title changes and asked Joey if he was at the meeting. And then there's a time-honored tradition to take one for the boys. Of course, that was Montreal references. Cyrus says Paulie Dangerously is hot at Joey, and he's out of control in general, and we had the footage for it. We go to earlier where Joey's trying to pre-record a segment, but Paul came busting in on his phone, bumped into an assistant who spills coffee, fires the assistant, and says he doesn't know what's going on in this company anymore. Francine and Jazz are standing there. Paul has his back to them and says on the phone, "You're fired too. You should get on your knees if you want to keep your job." Of course, the girls think he's talking to them, but he's clearly on the phone. Joey says Paul's going to get them sued, talking like women to this. Fran grabs his arm, but of course, it's Louis Dangerously, not Paulie Dangerously. Lou rants to Francine and says he's the powers that be. Of course, a WCW reference. And Joey settles things down, and security drags Lou off as he says, "My dad's a lawyer," which is funny. Joey says that wasn't supposed to air. So, again, like this is funny. This probably would have been good on TV, maybe like TNN trying to, marks, but and it was like, I don't know. It was the timing was a little hokey. Like it was obvious he was on the phone. Like the girls are standing looking right at him. Like did they really think, have them maybe on the other side of a wall or something, hearing him yell at them, like thinking they're yelling at him or something. But it was obvious he was on the phone. And the way they were standing, it was pretty clear it wasn't Paul either. Right. Like it was just, it was kind of silly the way they did it.
Felt like something that should have been in like minute 6 of a Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it felt more like a Saturday Night Live skit or something. Like all in on it, like more than like an actual confusion or something.
Yeah, it was Horatio Sands was actually doing
yeah. Any thoughts on that, Jenny, or the interviews?
It was okay. No, Lord knows what Tanaka said. I'm sure it was badass. I
to tell us.
I do like Judge Jones. I thought he did pretty well. I thought Jones did pretty well in that promo.
He's still a bum.
Yeah, I know you hate him, but it was decent.
All right, to the ring we go. It's ECW World Title time. Mike Awesome takes on Masato Tanaka. Cyrus trolling Joey about the heat with the powers that be. Joey says they're going to be a couple ball guys to kick in my ass. So these are all just digs at WCW and creative control and all that stuff. Tanaka stomps down, followed by Awesome and Jeff Jones. So a huge pop. This should be a fun one. Joey hypes up Awesome's stats. His journey to this point, we get the intros. Awesome starts hot with a splash in the corner, heavy chops and a back elbow. Tanaka dips Awesome to the apron, knocks him to the floor with a springboard lariat, meets him with a crossbody off the top. Tanaka shoots Awesome to the railing, drills him with a running chair to the head. Awesome turns the tide, hammers away, shoots Tanaka to the ring as Joey and Cyrus talk about the ECW title being a true world championship. Awesome blocks a body block with a belly-to-belly, knocks Tanaka outside, meets him with a suicide dive. Joey takes a dig at Hulk Hogan for not leaving his feet anymore as Awesome slings Tanaka to the front row, slides in the ring and barrels him with a springboard clothesline. Awesome shoves Tanaka back in. Joey reminds us that Awesome had double knee surgery. He missed most of the year. Awesome climbs to the top with a chair. He comes off and rattles Tanaka's brains. Tanaka stays on his feet, but eats a second shot. Then he pops back up, ducks a third, gets a chair and smashes Awesome with it, punches the chair through the champion with a roaring elbow. Tanaka slams Awesome, puts a chair on his head and heads up top with another chair, leaps and smashes him with it. Through Awesome for 2. Tanaka gets a tornado DDT onto the chair for 2, loads a second one, but Awesome counters into a sit-out powerbomb onto the chairs. Awesome cuts Tanaka down with a clothesline, mashes him with an Alabama slam. Awesome and Jones line up a table at ringside. Awesome sets up an Awesome bomb. Tanaka slips free, hits a back suplex. Awesome slides to the apron. Tanaka follows, and they throw down until Awesome puts Tanaka through the table with a sit-out powerbomb to a big pop in a great spot. Joe even says, "Holy shit." Awesome rolls Tanaka back inside for a near fall, slugs him onto a table in the ring. Awesome goes up top. Tanaka stops him, follows up and tries a superplex. Awesome counters, loads up a powerbomb. Tanaka fights that off and takes Awesome to the table with a superplex.
Jesus Christ.
Tanaka hits a diamond dust, pops up, but Awesome ducks the roaring elbow, snaps off a German. Tanaka no-sells the German. Awesome mows him down with a lariat. Awesome goes up, hits a splash for 2. They go back to the top, and Awesome finishes to retain his title with a super power bomb. So a great war as always. It's two insane warriors that wreck the bodies over and over. Big bombs, big spots, tables, chairs. Awesome retains, continues to dominate. Tanaka's fantastic. To me, and I'm going to be the low guy on this one, on the show, but it felt like we've seen this insanity from them a few times now over the years. And this felt a little bit slower and didn't have the drama as Anarchy Rules, because we like Awesome was probably going to win. We didn't have the shock of Taz and then them like panicking and going all out to win the belt. And their early showcase wars we saw like at Heat Wave 98 and early in there were like shocking to everybody. So this to me felt like I said earlier with the three-way, just a tad bit of, all right, like, you know, we've kind of seen it, kind of been there. I want to see Awesome do some different stuff. And I have been, you know, leery for a while with like a lot of the head stuff, especially knowing where Awesome ends up. So some of that to me doesn't hold up all the time. Mm-hmm. So I went 3 3/4. I still think it's great. I know. Sorry.
What are we doing?
Heavens to Jesus.
I mean, it's fun, but it's like, again,
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just burnt out on all the chair and table stuff. Like it felt like the same stuff. It's like, okay, in front of this crowd, we're just going to murder each other with chairs. And like, it's hard to take for me sometimes, like to see, like, and they kick out everything. So again, I like it. It's like fun to revisit, but it's like diminishing returns to me. Like they should just give this match a break now for a while. Like they've had a bunch of them and it's the same thing to me. So this is where I'm at with it. I'll shut up.
Full disclosure, this is one of my favorite matches of all time. Full stop. I've seen it quite a bit, and it's fucking incredible. Like, it's you'd be hard pressed to find a better world title match in the company history, period. I just think the violence these two guys unleash on each other is fucking unreal. And like, there's like a chemistry to the violence, if that makes sense. Yes. How they just like, they know what each other is going to do before they do it. Mm-hmm. And it comes across when you're watching it. And it's unbelievable. It's the perfect length. It's like 12 minutes long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I mean, they're just throwing bombs for the entire time. It doesn't stop. The sit down power bomb off the apron through the table at ringside, which even Joey says, holy shit, was just, I mean, it's incredible. So, I mean, I actually upped it from when I watched it I originally went 4 1/4 on this, but I'm going 4 1/2 because I talked myself into it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite matches of all time. It's at a minimum like a top 5 match in company history, I think, for me. So it's just, yeah, this is one of those matches I can watch at any point in time and just never get sick of it, because it's just, the chemistry comes across on TV between these two guys. And that's not a thing you can say a lot about people. You could just tell when two guys know each other well and know what to do with each other. And these guys just have it. And this is like their peak doing that. So yeah, 4 1/2. Jenny, the floor is yours.
No, I totally agree. You hit it with the chemistry, like, and the trust too. I think it takes so much fucking trust to be able to do this with another person. My notes are a fucking mess because I've never seen this before, and I was like, okay, I know it's going to be like a lot of like big power moves, a lot of stuff, and then it just devolved into like, how does he fly like that? Like, how he's so huge. And I was just trying to understand like the physics of like how he can fly like that. The chair shots, insane. This is fucking wild. I just couldn't say anything about anything because it was insane. Not a very good breakdown of this match, but what I can tell you is that you will not be able to look away.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
it is so captivating. Tanaka kicked out of the awesome splash, and I lost my mind. Not seen that before. So by the end, I just said, "My God."
Do you think it should have closed the show?
Yes, I
1,000%.
I thought poor Sandman.
Yeah.
After this, and RVD and Taz, because fuck, because I gave
it's hard
5 stars.
It's hard because you knew that main event could never deliver in the ring to this. So This likely should have been the closer for sure.
Yeah.
I was
really
going
hard
to
top
bring it up, and I figured you guys would say like it's kind of an old school move to put this match sort of middle of the show.
I mean, I get why it wasn't because it's Sandman's first match back in a year and a half, so I get it. But hindsight being 2020, like, yeah, put it on
You
last.
look at it, it's like this. I mean, how do you follow?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Like,
well, I don't know. Maybe I was in a mood that day. I'm gonna have to rewatch it at some point, but I still liked it a lot. I don't know.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah. Joey and Cyrus set up our big TV title war. Cyrus says, we know what Taz's position politically is, and that could lead to some chaos. Joey says, we always thought when these two wrestled, it would be RVD challenging for the world title. Cyrus says, if Taz wins the belt, we know whose TV it could show up on, and that would not be great. Joey wants to know why Taz thanked Cyrus earlier. Then we head to the ring as Taz is coming out to challenge Rob Van Dam for the TV title. RVD's out with Fonzie. Kind of a dream match in a very unexpected way to finally get this. Joey, I think, was accurate. I'm sure they always picture this being the big title change and crowning moment for Van Dam to go over Taz to win the world title. So we get it here in a different way. It builds some drama. Taz looks annoyed and a little emotional as well as the announcer kind of reads his accolades. The crowd is with RVD here. Joey sends well wishes to RVD's wife. There was in a jet ski accident. We get some stalling into a lockup and a series of counters and a chain work into a reset. We get some more chain work. Taz nets down a judo takedown, hooks a tight chin lock until RVD gets to the ropes. Taz plays to the crowd. He mocks RVD. We get a loud "fuck you, Taz" chant. Taz lands a boot and slugs away, but RVD comes storming back, gets up a boot on a charge, lays in some hands, and RVD leaps another charge, gets a sunset flip for 2. We reset and restart with a slugfest. Taz ducks a charge. He throws RVD over the top to the floor. He follows out and hammers away, shoots him to the railing. Taz lays in more punches and hard knees, uses the railing, but RVD fights him off and crotches him on the railing. Fonzie tries to set up a Van Dam-ator, but Taz grabs him and slides into the crowd. RVD flies off the railing, wipes out Taz and the fans. RVD heads back inside and regroups. Taz sneaks in from behind and clips his knee. Taz follows with a stiff Alabama slam for 2, lays in some hard cross faces. Taz ducks a leapfrog, snaps RVD over with a Tiger German, and then drags a table into the ring and sets it up in the corner. RVD comes back with a drop kick, gets a rolling thunder for 2, follows with a second one for 2. RVD lays in some kicks and a corkscrew leg drop, tries a somersault charge, but Taz just drills him with a clothesline and a nasty strike. RVD slips free from a suplex. Taz ducks a Van Dam-ator, spikes RVD through a table with a cradle Tazplex. Cyrus says Taz would love to win, embarrass ECW on his way out. Taz grabs a chair, but Fonzie distracts him for RVD to come off the top and drop kick it into him for 2. Both guys end up on top, and Taz loads up a suplex, but RVD slides to the floor, and Taz bangs off the buckle and flops to the mat. RVD comes back in. It's a split-legged moonsault for 2, hits a 5-star frog splash, and gets the clean win on Taz to a pop. RVD celebrates. Taz slowly gets up and gives him respect and then walks off. So good hard-fought match. Not much BS or craziness. Taz, again, we talked about this a few times, needed to stay healthy for this money run. He couldn't risk getting hurt. But he did give RVD and the fans one last strong outing. He was engaged in making it count. RVD sold a lot too, as he should, given Taz's legacy. Fun match that had to happen before Taz left, so good job on that. They give RVD the win on the ledger, and we'll see where they go from here. So, Matt, I went 3.5 on this. Again, I think very good. I think it's kind of the theme of the night for me is that under-delivered a touch. I do think so, but still a strong match.
Yeah, this was the match that disappointed me, I think, the most. I only went 3 stars on it. And to me, it's because, like, obviously Taz was going to hold back a little bit, right? He got the bag. He's not going to go crazy and do all this crazy shit because he's got money waiting for him after this, right? So I feel like I was almost disappointed because I know what these two guys are probably capable of together in a different spot. Like, if this match had happened a year earlier at November to Remember 98, I think there's a real possibility this is like a 4-star match. So I think because of that, it was kind of disappointing. It was a very safe match, and I love that even though it was a safe match, Taz's mouth still got fucked up when they botched that superplex on the turnbuckle. So you could be as safe as you want. Getting hurt's getting hurt. So that was kind of the thing for me, was that, like, I know that these two guys are capable of better, and I get why they held back a little bit on each other, but still, for like one of your premier matches on pay-per-view, when you just had two guys fucking killing each other for 13 minutes, like, 20 minutes before this, to see these guys just kind of going at like 80% when you know what they're capable of, I thought it was.
I know it's not ECW style, but I would have opened with this. I would have had the Taz promo and go right into it, and then reset the show with the undercard stuff.
Yeah.
And then you leave you can do the other 2 big matches at the end instead of stacking the 3 of them. And I think
Yeah.
it would have helped balance things a little bit. Then I would have done that 6-man and then go into the main event. I think that's how I would have set it up. I think this could have been fun to start the show. Like, because you could even say like Taz wants to get the fuck out of here. So like,
Right.
we're fighting right now because I'm done. Like, I'm not sticking around this shithole, you know.
So I mean, it was good. Like, these guys can fucking coast to a 3-star match, but yeah, for me it was definitely missing something, and it's a case of what could have been with these 2 guys. Jenny?
I don't know. Maybe I was in a good mood when this one came on because I think that I'd already said I'm already over Taz. I'm kind of done with you. Like, this match is old news for me, even though we never saw it. But then, I thought you could tell he was holding back, but he tried to give like a really good match. Like, there sometimes you can tell when Taz is being lazy. This, I didn't feel that at all. It was just very focused, very tight. Like, he got his shit in. They both did. And RVD did sell for him a lot more than I feel like RVD typically does. So that was pretty obvious. But the Van Daminator was sick off the top, like it always is. That fucking clothesline by Taz just took
Yeah, that was
RVD's head
that
off.
was good.
Yeah, okay.
That was probably
was
my
good.
favorite. Even through, all the bullshit that they do there, that clothesline really took me out. So I don't know. Taz surprised me here and impressed me a little bit on the way out. 3.5.
Yeah, he definitely didn't mail it in. I mean, he
No, he
put
didn't.
RVD over. He that's his style. He was never going to be that type to go in lazy. I mean, maybe a little safe, but he's not going to. He's been there for so long. ECW fans have been good to him. Paul's been good to him. Like, why would he be an asshole on the way out?
Right.
He does have one more match, so we're not done with him yet. We'll see him on
Oh,
TV.
shit.
Well, there's one more guy that makes sense for him. No, there's one more guy that makes sense to go over him if you're really going to legitimize things. So,
Okay.
we'll get
Chris Chetty.
there. Yeah, I mean, it's a big return.
Oh, wow, yeah.
All right, main event time, 6-man tag action as Rhino, Just Incredible, and Lance Storm take on Tommy Dreamer, Raven, and the Sandman. Rhino comes out, big match for him. You could see like he quickly went from being like Carino's like stooge muscle to, oh shit, this guy's good. And now they like rocket shipped him into like prime position because like, this guy
I love it.
different than anything we have. And with Taz leaving, we have Awesome, but he's kind of a different wrecking machine. Like, we don't really have that just kind of guy that can end you with like one shot like Taz can.
Right.
Rhino can do that with the gore. So
Oh, I fucking love the gore.
Just Incredible and Jason are out next, followed by Storm and Dawn Marie. Very provocative dress for her tonight. Cyrus plugs the Winnipeg radio show No Holds Barred that he does, and we get our entrances. The Dreamer marches down to Francine, who is up the ante with her dress. Definitely throwing it out. Raven saunters down, then we get the big extended Sandman entrance to pop his first match back, like we said, in a year after a sabbatical in WCW. Cyrus puts over Sandman's physical condition. He does look pretty good. We get full intros, really dragging this out. We're setting up for a short sprint when you look at the time remaining. Rhino and Sandman start off with some feeling out and a pair of lockups. Rhino shows off his strength. Sandman tags in Tommy. Storm comes in from the other side. Tommy hammers away at Storm. Storm catches a back elbow. Tommy recovers a side leg sweep, goes to tag, but Raven walks away from him. Credible is in and jumps Tommy from behind. Credible gets crotched up top. Tommy snaps him down with a neck breaker. Sandman tags in, but Credible runs away. Things break down as Rhino jumps Sandman on the floor. Back inside, Rhino hammers on him and ends up running into a Credible cane shot for the apron. Credible tags in and peppers away. Sandman gets stuck in the corner. They get triple teamed. The Impact players start to go through their teamwork. They control Sandman as Joey credits Credible for being ripped and traveling with Storm to help him get in shape, which is true. The Impact players load up Sandman and Rhino power bombs him off the middle rope for 2. Credible tags back in and lays in more fists. Storm tries to splash off the top and misses. Sandman crawls to the corner. Raven decks Tommy, tags him in, and cleans house on the players. Raven shoots Storm outside, whips Credible hard to the corner, and lines up a DDT, but Rhino saves with a gore for 2. Storm catches Tommy with a super kick for 2 as Rhino hooks Sandman in the tree of woe. Tommy clotheslines Rhino over the top. Storm meets Tommy with a tope. Inside, Raven DDTs Credible for 2, but Storm makes a save. Rhino hammers Tommy on the floor. Tommy shoves him into the post. Him and Raven set up a table. Tommy puts Rhino on the table, sets up a chair, wants to leap off, but as he comes in, Raven drop toe holds him into it. Raven springs off the ropes, but Rhino moves and he splatters through the table. In the ring, Storm holds up Sandman for a gore, but Sandman sidesteps and Rhino mows through Storm. Sandman canes Rhino, but he stays on his feet and he calls for more until a third shot takes him down. Excuse me. Dawn is in and leaps on Sandman's back. As Francine hits a low blow on Storm, we get a cat fight for a pop. Sandman grabs Dawn and kisses her and then goes to cane Credible, but he ducks and Sandman gets caned by Raven by mistake. Credible plants Sandman with That's Incredible and covers for the win. definitely a mess and rushed, but it had a lot of story implications. The Impact players worked smoothly. They get another big win. Rhino looked good too, but the ECW Legends, of course, struggled to be on the same page. Raven's playing the mind games with Tommy, and then he cost Sandman by accident. So we know they have a history. So a lot of chaos. I think it made sense on paper to close, like we said earlier, because of Sandman. But this did not feel like, to me, a pay-per-view level main event. I mean, it felt like Taz and Bubba or whatever again. Like this, to me, felt like a big ECW arena closing match, like this weekend at the arena kind of thing. So I went 3 stars. Again, I think it was solid, and we get to see the big players. But I would have liked this in the middle of the card or right before the Awesome Tanaka to show what the new era is. Here are the Legends doing their story stuff, and then Awesome and Tanaka just destroy each other to end the show. And you could even argue you could end with RVD and Taz too, because it's like a torch passing for RVD.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been fine with that over this, but I get why they don't want to give Taz maybe the closing spot. So all in all, like I said, Jenny, 3 stars for this one.
Yeah, this was a bit of a mess and kind of, I don't know. Like one team was like definitely trying to wrestle, and the other team was definitely just trying to hit people with canes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tommy is in no shape to be doing any of this. Number one, we all know that. Raven, I'm getting real fucking sick of Raven. Like he's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind control, your fucked upness, it works if you're like also cutting promos or having other matches, or you have a team with you or something. I don't know. His tired shit with Tommy is pissing me off.
Well, I'm curious now that he like fucked up Sandman a bit. Are they going to do almost like a Tommy's in the middle, or like I'll be curious where they go with it, because obviously Sandman's going to want revenge on Raven. Like that was clear the way they did it.
Well,
but
that's good. Like let's do something with Raven that's not the exact same fucking thing every time. Like literally since he's been back. I love seeing Sandman back. He definitely got his ass kicked for most of the fucking match. I figured, Impact players were going to go over here. So not a surprise, but very sloppy match. Definitely not a main event. I think I was pretty generous with my 3 stars.
Yeah, it was almost like showing a little bit of love to the old guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Sandman, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went 2 3/4. This felt very house show to me, and not main event of biggest pay-per-view of the year by any fucking stretch. And I hope, because this doesn't even, I had to look it up, this doesn't even go 10 minutes.
No,
so,
when I looked at the timer, they're doing all the intros and all that.
Yeah,
they're
right.
like milking and trying to really, keep this short.
My hope is that it was so short because, Dreamer has a perpetually injured back and Raven's got gout for the 17th time. And and it's not because that after 2.5 years, they still don't know how to time a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then boy, we really didn't need the Taz thing, the Louis Dangerously thing. If it was the case where you're running short on time and you had to,
I think it's more that they're all banged up. I think
I hope.
So too.
I would hope so, because if you're having to cut your main event to under 10 minutes because of all the shit you got going on, I fucking hope not. But yeah, just a super disappointing main event. I Just Incredible almost died during this match too with that fucking back body drop he took from Raven. But that was the most exciting thing about the match, because the rest of it was just kind of mid. So 2 3/4 for me.
I would say Rhino was a standout because
he looked awesome.
Oh yeah, totally.
I just really loved him.
The right team won. I mean, they made the right call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
You could have just done like Tommy and Sandman against the Impact players, had Rhino get involved, and Raven comes in and he hits Sandman. Like you could have done that if Raven was part of the issue, but I do think Tommy's still banged up. It was just, again, we've seen this a few times now in November, Remember, and I hope they're not going to fall into the doing like the super tags at the show. Like it's almost like the early SummerSlam days where it's like, oh, we're going to do like the mega dream tags. Remember, we had that year with the triple threat against like Fonzie's guys.
That was the year before. That was 98.
Was it 98 or 97?
97 was Shane and Bam Bam.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, right. So we've had 2 straight years now, like, mega team matches. So yeah, I think we could have restructured this card and it would have been a little bit smoother.
Yep.
All right. Joey narrates a highlight package, including Joey noticing that Raven turned his back on Sandman after he caned him and allowed him to get pinned. So again, we'll see where that goes. Joey then plugs guilty as charged on January 9th, 2000, as we wrap up the final pay-per-view of the 90s for ECW. All right, our awards. Best match, I did go Awesome Tanaka. I know you all think I hated it, but I actually had it tied with the triple threat and Sabu and Taz. I mean, Sabu and Candido as all 3 3/4 on this night for me. But actually, no, I had the 3-way 3.5. Sorry, so I had this in Sabu Candido tied. I do think this was better.
Yeah, me too. It's 5 stars.
Yeah, Awesome Tanaka. We can move on.
Closer than half of 5 than 5. All right. Worst match, I went just Spike and Simon Diamond. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best moment, I had a couple. I went New Jack's dive off the basketball.
Oh my god.
And then Sandman's entrance was pretty cool. Like his first.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That fucking awesome something off the top rope. The bomb.
Yeah.
Through the table.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. I went with the sit down power bomb off the apron that made Joey say "Holy shit!"
All right, most 90s. I want the powers that be. This everything, all the conversation about kind of Raz and WCW.
Yeah, all the insider bullshit that Cyrus said throughout the entire 3-hour pay-per-view.
Pretty much.
All right, Rising at a bunch to Jerry, Lynn, to Baldies, Sabu, Candido, Awesome, Tanaka, RVD. That all shined tonight.
Rhino.
Yeah, Rhino.
Yep.
The Cookie Monster. Stock falling. I went Chetty. I thought he looked like a pussy in his big return. And then Taz. We always give Taz that, or we always give the guys leaving kind of the falling. But
I'm always.
I thought he was pretty good on this one. Actually, I thought he was better than he was at like Anarchy Rules for sure.
Right.
I'm always going to put PN News.
PN News, yeah.
I think he's okay. He's fine as the 4th guy in the Baldies. He's better there than he was as PN News.
He should be like the 8th guy in a 4-man team, I think.
Almost everybody was really good tonight.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Yeah, for the most part.
Everyone's been consistently good, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you have a pretty decent roster.
Even Simon Diamond was tolerable.
He was.
Yeah, even the low card guys are fine right now. Like they can all go. And they all get time. Like they've done a good job. They've condensed the roster a bit, but it's pretty tight. So. So I'm definitely lower on the show than I'm sure you guys are because I was lower on almost every match except for one. So I went 7 out of 10. I mean, I thought it was a very good pay-per-view. I don't think it's one of their best, but I'm guessing I'm a kind of an outlier given I was significantly lower on a couple of the big matches. But
yeah, no, it's kind of funny. I ended up liking some of these way more than I thought. Like I didn't know. I mean, I've seen Awesome and Tanaka before, but like I don't know, just something was different about this match. And, Sabu and Candido was the only thing that was pretty disappointing. So I'm going to go like 8.5. Like, I really like this show.
Yeah, even with the disappointing main event, I still went 8. I mean, that stretch from the 3-way dance to, I mean, you could even include like RVD and Taz. I went 3 stars on it, which is still good. Like that stretch is up there with like the best we've seen on pay-per-view. So I ended up going 8.
Yeah, again, it could have been a mood day for me. I don't know what I was in. I was watching it being lower on stuff, but I'll get a message from Rocco. I'm sure at some point when he listens to this, so tell me why I'm wrong on it all. But that's where I was at. So we'll see where we continue. We got a couple months left in 99. Our first pay-per-view will be early 2000. So stay with us. We're here every 2 weeks. Stay with all of North-South Connection. Follow us on social media. We're not going to ever K5 you. We'll be truthful and honest all the way through. And stay extreme. We'll talk to you soon.